Lamb Chop loves music's not going to work. I accidentally grabbed the Macintosh version by mistake, which won't work on here. But I've got this one, Martial Arts Explorer, which I was intrigued by. So let's have a look. This product is a compendium of martial arts techniques. Before engaging in exercises and moves demonstrated in this program, please consult your physician. While physical fitness is an important component of a healthy lifestyle, not all exercises are suitable for everyone. Your doctor should advise you on the suitability of this program for you. Please take care in performing the techniques so as not to injure yourself or others. Children should be carefully supervised while watching or performing any of the martial arts techniques. All exercises or moves are performed at your own risk. Not liable for damage, loss, injury of any kind resulting from the use of this product. That's a bit different because they usually just flat out say, don't try this at home, but there you go. And I laugh at the whole thing of like, make sure your children don't do this. I've got a friend who lives down the road from me who I knew when he was a teenager, and him and his brother would just spend most of their days reenacting, like, you know, wrestling moves. But there you go. Let's have a look, shall we? Future Vision. Pixel Multimedia. Yep. Okay, here we go.
I was a young man when I first set out on my quest. Every year I would return to my home on the island of Raikoku and place my finding in the library I had built for this purpose. My search was for the ultimate in martial arts. But as the years went by and I grew older, I started to realize the true meaning of being a martial arts practitioner. I realized there was no such thing as the ultimate martial art. Each art had its beauty, its strengths, its weaknesses. This revelation changed the course of my life. My goal now was to gather as much relevant information as I could about the martial arts, the philosophies relating to them, and the history of the regions in which they evolved. I would gather this knowledge and return, my feet blistered, to the library, where I would build shelves to house the new fragments of information that I had collected. I traveled on foot to the farthest reaches of Asia in search of the origins of the martial arts and the different practices that had been developed. Recording these travels in my journal gave my venture an overall structure. In it, I drew simple sketches and added references to other books in my library. These sketches helped me remember what I had seen in those far pavilions. Even in my old age, when I look at them, they come to life before my mind's eye in vivid color. The journal reminds me of my explorations. It helps me understand the contents of the magnificent library that is the fruit of my life's work. I now know that it is not in vain that in my small village I am known as Hiroto Kozo, the martial arts explorer.
Oh yeah. Hiroto Kozo. Let's see if we can find anything about him. Hiroto Kozo Wiki. No, actually, nothing about it here. I just spelt it wrong, maybe. But yeah, so I'm presuming it's a martial artist turned monk who just decided to. I don't know whether it's meant to be a fictional character or not, but let's click around. Yeah, let's have a look in the guts. Yeah, we want music. We don't want to quit. Put that back. Let's see if we can get some help for this one. And it did ask me to set up QuickTime for this, but I actually had the later version, so I didn't need to do that. I found that too, yeah, like, A lot of Windows 3.1 programs would have QuickTime built in, but it
Konnichiwa.
wasn't always the
Martial
right
arts
version,
explorer
and it
one.
would actually break
My name is
the thing
Asuka.
somewhere.
I am his granddaughter. I will be your hostess throughout this multimedia experience. Whenever you are in need of help, just click the icon with my picture on it, and I will be happy to assist you. Here are a few of the places you can visit in the Martial Arts Explorer's Island. Walking through the library, you will find the numerous books that my grandfather collected during his travels. You may select any book you wish to read from the shelves. In the library, you will also find my grandfather's journal. The journal is a compilation of notes my grandfather took during his travels. It is his greatest achievement. On the island,
I like
you
that
can
mountain
visit
look
the
exactly
tiny
like
little library
how
that
it
my
does in
grandfather
Valheim.
built in honor of art and history. Through the use of video segments, the Compare View allows you to compare various elements of the 12 martial arts.
Okay. So we get a lot of text in a bit of video, it seems.
The control panels enable you to change the basic settings according to your personal desire.
Music on or
I
off,
wish
that was
you
the
an
only
enjoyable
option.
and enlightening stay. I hope that you will learn from my grandfather's experiences.
Well, you gonna make me a cuppa or what? But good thing I got my coffee ready to go. Okay, so let's check out the library first, I suppose.
Enter the library.
So, oh, that's the other areas. Oh, we can go to the gallery. I was hoping we'd be able to, like, move around in this, like, in Mist or something. Multi-view, history, philosophy, anatomy. Sort of recover, we got 12, apparently. So, Jiu Jitsu, Judo, Aikido, Kendo, Iaido.
Tron has been one of the largest blockchain ecosystem in the whole industry, in the whole
Who's
world.
talking now?
I'm talking about, like, for example,
Ninjutsu.
how
I
many
love how
patent
it's spelled
holders,
Kung Fu.
like how many users on Tron
Tai
blockchain.
Chi. Sing Yi, I've never heard of, actually. Taekwondo. Henchjuk Kali. Oh, yeah, and Karate. Alright. Multi-view Karate. Forms for... Oh, and you get a front and side option? Okay. Oh, that's cool, and it actually... So the videos are kind of playing... Well, not playing simultaneously, but they're saying, oh, if you want to switch to this video, we'll start it from this point. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And... Oh, there's like fast forward and shit. Ah, this makes it way funnier. Nice. This is double speed, by the way. Okay. So can we go back out? Because I don't want to do... I want to do like tech stuff first and then leave the videos and shit to the last. Multi-view. Oh, we're just zooming in on each bit? Okay. So multi-view, multi-view, multi-view. Then we get to history. Okay, so let's do martial arts history. Oh my god, that's a lot of text. Yep, healing, military strategy. Just because I'm hoping to get like a compressed version of this, for, like, rather than going through this whole thing. Martial artists. Yep. The serious martial arts. Anyone can practice. Training methods. So what's the other stuff here? That's the start of the book. Oh, and you can look up all these words as well. Natsu, yep. Oh, do we get... Yeah, we should refer to lady here.
Reading a book in the library is very simple. You may flip pages with the red arrows, view the contents, return to where you came from, or access the glossary
Hey,
to look up a
racist.
word. Keep in mind that acquiring knowledge requires patience. The fruit of the effort is, of course, immeasurable.
It's actually calling us out for not being asked to read all this stuff. Okay. So what do we have? History. What's this? The I Ching. I'd actually never heard of the I Ching until they it came up in the last book of his Dark Materials. It's the one you like shake the thing with the sticks with stuff written on them, and the one you get is the fortune. And I think the chicken was using it like the golden compass to kind of work out what to do. Don't really know too. I'm just skimming this, and I'll try and give you some bullet points if I can. Idea change, Taoism, 64 hexagrams. Book. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it involves. No, the sticks thing is something different. It's something to do with lines. That's right. Duke of Cho. Confucius was a great contributor. Was nearly destroyed back in the day. Oh, okay. Translations. Yep. Tao Te Ching. Contents. The Tao Te Ching. Yes, I should know these. These are actually kanji for numbers. So what do we got? Ni, san, shi, or yo, roku. No, go, roku, shichi, hachi. I think the Tao that can be spoken of is not the eternal Tao. Names that can be given are not the eternal names. The nameless is the origin of heaven and earth. The named is the mother of creation. Therefore, one strips oneself of passion in order to penetrate life's secret. One regards life with passion in order to see its manifest forms. These two are the same. They are given different names when they become manifest. They are both mysteries. The mystery of mysteries is the gate to the secret of all life. Tao Te Ching. People know beauty as beauty because they recognize ugliness. They know good as good because they recognize evil. Thus, being and non-being give rise to one another. Difficult and easy complement one another. Long and short contrast with one another. High and low measure one another. Tones and voice harmonize one another. Front and behind follow one another. Therefore, the superior man manages his affairs without action, preaches his doctrine without words. All things rise and fall ceaselessly, and he does not reject them. He nurtures them, but does not possess them. He acts, but does not lay claim to, achieves, and lets go. Thus, the credit cannot be taken away from him. Okay. I'd actually, honestly haven't heard of the Tao Te Ching before, but By not exalting the gifted, one prevents contention. By not prizing rare objects, one stops stealing. By not displaying desirable things, one prevents hearts from being confused. Therefore, in the government of the superior man, hearts are empty of desire, bellies are full, ambitions are weakened, bones strengthened. Thus the people are innocent of knowledge and desires, and the clever ones dare not interfere. By practicing non-doing, harmony is reached. Tao is a hollow vessel, used but never filled, the fathomless source of all things. Sharp edges are rounded off, tangles untied, lights tempered, turmoil submerged, yet it remains dark like deep water. I do not know whose son it is, an image of what existed before God. Nature is unkind, it treats the people like sacrificial straw dogs. The superior man is unkind, he treats the people like sacrificial straw dogs. The universe is like a bellows, empty yet inexhaustible. Bringing forth more and more, it is worked. Words cannot measure it, therefore hold the core. Yeah, that's cool. That's a little philosophical thingy. The spirit of the valley never dies. It is called the mystic female. The doorway of the mystic female is the root of heaven and earth. It endures ceaselessly, draw upon it, and it serves you without fail. Are they making a euphemism? Like, I can only think of one mystic female doorway, and it's doesn't really have much to do with philosophy. Heaven and earth last forever. They last forever because they do not live for themselves. Putting himself last, the superior man is uplifted, gives of himself, and is thereby preserved. Is it not because he does not live for self that his self is realized? Oh, so that's sort of saying, if you don't live for yourself, you create your own self? I don't know. The greatest good is like water. It benefits all things without striving. It dwells in places that people disdain, wherein it comes near to the Tao. In his dwelling, the superior man loves to be close to the land. In his heart, he loves the profound. In his relations with others, he loves kindness. In his words, he loves truth. In government, he loves peace. Business affairs, he loves efficiency. In his actions, he loves appropriate timing. He does not contend, so he is out with reproach. 9. Stretching a bow to the full, the string snaps. Hone a sword edge to its very sharpness, it soon dulls. Fill your hall with gold and jade, you cannot long protect it. Pride and wealth and honour, this brings downfall. Retire when your work is done, such is the way of heaven. Can you embrace the one, yet never forsake the Tao? In controlling your vital force to achieve suppleness, can you become like the newborn child? In cleansing and purifying your inner vision, can you achieve perfection? In loving the people and governing the kingdom, can you rule without cleverness? In opening and shutting heaven's gate, can you play the female role? In comprehending all knowledge, can you renounce the mind? To nurture without possessing, to act without appropriating, to lead without dominating, that is the highest virtue. Oh, how long does this go for? 11. 30 spokes around the hub. From the center hole arises the utility of the wheel. Mold clay into a vessel. From the empty space within arises the utility of the vessel. It houses doors. This is all trying to teach us about martial arts too. 5 colours, blind the eyes. 5 musical notes, deafen the ears. 5 flavours, dull the taste. I've heard that one before. I think that was in Lone Wolf and Cub. A superior man provides for the belly, not the eye. He rejects the one, accepts the other. Oh, this goes on for a while. How many fucking things is there? 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Do I get a spiel about it? No, you're just going to tell me how to read the book, aren't you? I wouldn't mind a little spiel about the, this thing, 26. This goes for ages, doesn't it? Um, 35, 36, 39. I love they like ran out of room and had to put all the kanji down here. 40, 41, 42, 45. So when this is basically what I'm doing if I was playing this as a kid. Be like, just show me the martial arts videos. Want to know how to do cool flip kicks. This just keeps going. 59, 60. And it is a lot. Like, I know people have like accepted this as like spiritual beliefs and the way to live life, but Jesus Christ, it waffles on, doesn't it? Right, 70. If anything, it's teaching me how to write, numbers in kanji, which I still don't really know how to do yet. Because I know that as well, they actually use Japanese kanji to show off the innings in baseball. 81. Wow. Let's see how this all wraps up, shall we? True words are not fine sounding. Fine sounding words are not true. A good man does not argue. He who argues is not a good man. Tell the internet that. The wise are not learned. The learned are not wise. The superior man does not accumulate for himself. He lives for others and is himself enriched. He gives to others and receives even greater abundance. The Tao of heaven blesses but does not harm. The way of the superior man accomplishes without contention. So I think, yeah, the simplest explanation is the whole, everything is nothing, nothing is everything, that sort of thing. Just waffles on like that for a while, doesn't it? Tai Chi Ching. Whoa, shit! Brad Phillips 89. Thank you for the follow button. I'm sorry if like I bored you going through that. Like we're trying to knock off all the philosophy stuff before we get to see the cool martial arts. But there you go. Zen. Oh, we at least get pictures on this one. The doctrine. Oh, there's like this is like. Oh my dear, that is a lot of words. So it basically runs you through the philosophies: Zen, Taoism, Buddhism, Confucianism, vital points, nerves, muscles, Chinese medicine. Let's have a look at vital points. Ooh, here we go. This is a bit different. Can we just click on... Yeah, okay, you can click on the actual pressure points to see what they do. Alright, now this is a bit more interesting. Tendok. Trauma to cranial nerves, loss of consciousness. Trauma to cranial nerves, loss of consciousness. There's names for each one. Okay, so these are all pressure points for knocking someone out from the looks of things. Cerebral trauma. Yeah, everything head related is just for cerebral trauma. Okay. Uta. Point of base of nose between the eyes. So there. Yeah, oh, that would cane too. But yeah, all of these lead to loss of consciousness. Concussion. Trauma to... Yeah. Matsukaze. Trauma to the carotid artery and the pneumogastric nerve leading to loss of consciousness and shock. Front point. Just above collarbone. Yeah, there's a few good pressure points on the collarbone. Bone at the base of the neck. Oh, yeah, so just sort of in there. Due to blocking a windpipe. Yeah, because a crack, pretty much anywhere there is gonna fuck someone, definitely. Yep. Sternum ones are pretty nasty as well. I didn't really, yeah, we didn't really touch. I should point out what martial arts I've actually done over the years. So I think I started Taekwondo when I was 7. Muay Thai when I was about 16, 17. Little bit of Kendo in my 20s and late 20s. It would have been a little bit of Ninjutsu. And yeah, Ninjutsu is probably the only one that's kind of covered pressure points, or because you're usually not hitting with like a full punch. You're doing you're aiming for vital points with like chops and fingers. Like that one, you can use you can get them like right under the sternum with that one. Just below navel. Okay. Just below navel, trauma to small intestine and bladder and to large blood vessels and nerves in the abdomen. Loss of motor function. I'm imagining it. Yeah, you smack that one, it causes people to piss themselves. Kyoe. Trauma to lungs. Circulatory failure. This one's just below your nipples. Okay. And these all have names to them. That's crazy. Is Shuko. Oh yeah, there's ones in the fingers. Sort of in the yeah, that bit, the that part of your between your thumb and index finger. Yako. Yeah, there's a nasty one. There's like, no, that's not quite there. There's one on the inside there's a bundle of nerves in there. We got taught not to kick there in Muay Thai because it causes severe pain. Oh, there's a couple in the feet. Okay. Instep. Yeah, it's usually attached. What tendons and stuff like that. Testicles. Trauma to the nerves and arteries of the testicles and groin. Loss of motor function and inhibition of breathing. Yeah, yep. That'll stop you breathing. And it's showing what specific nerves it's meant to be hitting as well. Keichu, back of neck. Yeah, that's interesting. It's touching on the It's going into full detail, isn't it? What's on the bite? Tip of spine. Oh yeah. I suppose there's a nerve right on the That's meant to be the collarbone, not your taint. Okay. Onjun. And I don't know what this martial art pertains to. I'm guessing let's say ninjutsu, like one of the Japanese ones, going by the names. But yeah, not quite sure on that. What have we got for muscles? Gluteal fold. Pain, hip, and abdomen. Kusanagi. And okay. Well, that was definitely. Oh, and there's an actual model for it. Oh, the cinema. Can check out the cinema at some point. Love that there's just this model hanging out in the middle of a library, by the way. No, we kind of want to touch... Yeah, we want to go back on this side. Philosophy, so we did muscles. Yeah, not a fan of Chinese medicine since, like, just the whole animal products thing. No, I watched a documentary from the guy that, like, hand-raised the big cats at home. So he did, I think the first series he did 2 Sumatran tigers. Second one was a black leopard. And the third series I watched, I think it came out last year or a year before. Went to, I want to say, somewhere in Southeast Asia, because they have sun and moon bears there. There's like little bears, but they, there's bears, Asian bears, that they farm the bile out of, like just lock them in a cage and just pull the bile out of their body. And it was a bit messed up because it's all used in Chinese medicine. Just was not a fan of that. But god damn, the bears were adorable. It was a bit crazy because they're like, even at baby stage, they're like 30 kilos and they like to jump on like everything. But yeah, we've covered that. Yeah, let's have get the quick spiel on each martial art. Jiu-Jitsu literally means gentle art, or more broadly, to conquer by yielding or compliance. As one of the oldest Japanese martial arts, it originally but not exclusively stressed unarmed combat against armed opponents. It was studied by the samurai to complement their sword and spear techniques. Over the years, many of these techniques were adapted or incorporated by virtually all other Japanese open-handed martial arts. In fact, Jiu-Jitsu is sometimes called the father of Japanese martial arts, with both Aikido and Judo developing directly from it. Yeah, I know. I remember reading up on that factoid because I watched through the whole thing of Modern Family the other day, and the granddad, Ed O'Neill from Married with Children, is actually a Brazilian jiu-jitsu expert, like 4 or 5 Dan or something like that. He's pretty well up there. And yeah, it's mostly grappling. So I think we can probably click on this and get a spiel.
We strike, but usually the strike is to make your opponent, distract your opponent for finishing things.
I love we're getting this spiel from the white guy as well.
We always grab the hand because we don't want him getting away from us so easily. If we hit somebody, pow, he's going to let go. Okay, the idea is maybe I won't hit him hard enough to finish him, but if I distract him and I put a joint technique on him, I can control him at least. Jiu-Jitsu is probably the father of all Japanese martial arts.
The second technique would just be a swing and a joint lock to the back.
That'll
The
do it.
idea was a samurai would lose his weapon in battle. And within the melee, he'd have to get out of there somehow, maybe even get another sword by disarming another opponent.
Front choke with a strike, Ripatsanai.
So I haven't done this fully. We've done a
Tactical
few
fighting
techniques like this in
situations,
Jiu
that's what
Jitsu,
Jiu-Jitsu
but
is.
it's not like there's more stuff involved. There's probably, Kendo and Jiu Jitsu are the only, no, not Jiu Jitsu, Ninjutsu are the only ones where I've actually used weapons. And I actually didn't get far enough in it to use them. Like, I think Jiu Jitsu you can learn, Ninjutsu, you can use like kunai and stuff like that eventually. Because it was all the fun ninja stuff. Just having a look for philosophy. Yeah, a lot of stuff with, more videos. Okay.
Shi. Go. Up.
Oh, excuse me. Vape and coffee at the same time didn't do well.
Okay, a little faster. Ready. Each. Knee. Top. Shi.
And yeah, definitely not a focus on like strikes and stuff. It was always grapples for the most part. Or just ways of getting in close. I like that I'm studying this as well. There's another streamer that I like, John McBon, who got me onto, suggested I should get King of Fighters 2002 because it got a remaster recently that came out for cheap. And yeah, I'm trying to put things in practice for King of Fighters as well because I'm terrible at that game. But yeah, we got plenty of videos on this one at least. And okay, so they're going through all the vital points that we were touching before. Sudagane, yeah. But yeah, definitely a lot of there's always a lot to these sort of things as well. I think I'm trying to think of ones locally that I've seen that I know, like Wing Chun definitely got a revival after like the Donnie Yen movies. So what else we got? Yep, weapons. Okay, so they're using Hanbo for the disarming techniques. I've used that's what I use in Ninjutsu. Yeah. Coffee was kind of cold. But yeah, trying to think what was important body-wise. Strong core. Definitely need a strong core for grappling. Not just to be able to do the techniques, but also to be able to break out of them. And yeah, so safe falling's another one, ukemi. Like being able to condition your body to like roll to kind of reduce the damage. Oh, we've got the full spiel here instead of going to the... No, I like the library. I want a bit of music at least. Oh, and they've got the same guy for each one. Okay. So yeah, judo is very similar. Oh, new guy though. Let's talk to this guy.
Judo is a way of life, and it definitely is a harmonious way of life. But we leave the curing up to the medical community.
Okay, that was random.
We practice on the mat, where we kind of do grappling techniques, and then we do standing techniques because then our bodies are warmed up and we're ready to go, and we practice grips and free practice or free fighting, where each person tries to fight the other person. And then we end the workout by either reviewing a technique that we might want to go over, have a question and answer period, and then we do our cool downs, where we kind of let our body cool down by doing some stretching and motions that help, and breathing that help bring the body back down to where it started.
Yeah, he was a bit. Oh my god, man. Oh, there's some so. Oh, okay, Penjak. Yeah, yep. No, go back to. We'll just keep going on there. I think Aikido is similar as well, isn't it? Just seeing if there's more stuff in here. Yeah, more grapples. Yeah, Aikido's more. Okay, it's sort of a bit of everything as well. Yeah, I'd hate to do grappling in the bottom half of that outfit's called a hakama. That's what you're wearing. That you wear these sort of outfits in Kendo as well, obviously. There's sort of a few sword techniques in that as well.
Translating harmony, so way of harmony.
Oh, actual Japanese guy doing this one.
The I meaning the harmony, the ki meaning the spirit or source of the energy, do meaning our way. So we discover the martial arts to be not for the fighting, more as the personal development or look for the harmony or peace. So that's the behind the idea of training of the Aikido. But of course, the Aikido is origin from the martial arts, so can be used as a self-defense technique.
Yeah. Because I was gonna touch on that as well. Like, yeah, like martial arts always has that founding in spiritual development as well, definitely. Excuse me. Just having a look. Philosophy, open-handed techniques. Yeah, let's have a look at this one.
Not you just set few minutes before training, so that's why. So you try to be calm to prepare your mind to be ready.
Okay, Aikido's meant to be purely defensive.
System or style of meditation.
Circular flowing movement guided by the feet, which directs hips, trunks, and arms in succession. Okay.
Whoever instructors there and show to the student whatever you have to do. Then
yeah, there's a lot of information here, definitely.
Not too much explanation, but you look carefully, observe what the teacher is showing, and you try to follow. And that's the general way to training in Aikido.
Yeah, because I found that too. I've definitely learned a lot just watching other people fight. A little bit on weapons. Oh yeah, various staves.
Yeah.
Oh, slightly different sword styles for Aikido as well. Okay. Yeah, that is actually a good point. This part here. Like if you go into a fight hot-headed, you're going to lose control immediately, and you're not going to be able to read your opponent. That's a big thing as well. And yeah, like I've fought, and I've done that before. Like I've gotten into actual fights, and you get into like this sort of Zen state of mind where you you completely live in the moment, and I miss it. I really like. Yeah, once the fitness starts coming back, I definitely want to get back into martial arts at some point. Yeah, all right. We'll touch on Kendo as well.
My name is Daniel P. Ebihara. I'm head of Pension Institute, where we teach all Japanese martial arts, including mainly Kendo. But used to be there are over 600 schools in Japan in the feudal era.
Yeah,
Now
I
it's
remember it
condensed
getting
to one,
popular.
which is called
80s and 90s.
Old
Like, you always saw it,
Japan
like,
Kendo
if the kids were doing the after school activities,
Nippon Kendo.
there'd always
But
be
there
a
are
couple in, like, the
many
Kendo
form
school.
of schools still exist called Koryu. Ko means ancient, Ryu means school. They are still practicing throughout Japan. But one party, all those people who survived in the actual battlefield, they go back home and how he survived, why. He came attacked this way, I did this way, and he analyzed his action. That became...
Yeah, and you sort of, there's a lot of progression in Kendo as well. You start out with your training swords, your shinai. I've still got my shinai somewhere. Then you got the wooden swords, bokken. That's more for showy stuff, because you can, that's what they used to use to train sword techniques and stuff, and you can break an arm with that. This is a solid piece of wood for the bokken.
It came from Buddhist monks.
And you can then apply the same techniques to actual swords to get like the correct cuts and stuff like that. And it's definitely a
the end is try to save.
There's a lot of push. Yeah, all the strikes are like a push-pull motion.
Trying to save and trying to kill is about to save. It's vice versa.
So
it's within.
You're actually better off being left-handed, like me. Because the bottom hand actually has the most control over the sword.
Winning or losing is no longer a subject. Today's Kendo, particularly, nobody gets killed. We can die a million times, nothing happens. See, we hit all our might and speed, but the Kendo is the most safest martial art of all.
Okay, yeah, that was a long spiel. Yep. Sword, straight. I'm just having a look at, just seeing if there's other interesting stuff in the thing. Stuff about the Tokugawa shogunate. Yep. Yeah, because I watched an interesting anime recently called Shigarui, which was where they set it. Yeah, they made up. I think it was Iemitsu Tokugawa. Had like a brother that was like crazy over bloodlust and like hosts this tournament where everyone's meant to use real weapons, and comes across two fighters. One's missing an arm, one's blind, and actually has like a cut up the middle of his foot. And the story then stops at that point and says, all right, let's go back and find out what how these two got their start, how they got to that point. Very short-lived, and it didn't survive. You probably would have gotten like 1 or 2 more seasons out of the anime itself, like from the source material of the manga. But yeah, it was interesting. Definitely had a lot of style to it, for sure. Yeah. And they showing off all the... Because they do that for tournaments as well. There's only 3 valid places you can attack to get your point or your kill. So it was men, which is top of the head, door, which is under the torso there, and kote, which is on the hand, on the wrist. So they're the 3 points. Kendo is a paradox. On the one hand, it is highly ritualized. On the other hand, it is a competitive sport. Iaido, art of drawing the sword, is now considered to be a martial art in its own right. Yeah, there's a big thing on Iaido. Just the quick draw. Being able to draw and strike at the same time. I don't know, that was a bit small for... I was expecting more for Kendo. Oh yeah, we can touch on Iaido as well. Art of drawing a sword from its scab and striking an opponent in the same movement. Movement concludes with wiping the sword. Oh, yep. Okay. Iaido. This is teaching me nothing about Iato, I'm afraid to say.
Iaido, as compared to Kendo, is very similar. Outwardly, they appear somewhat different. The most obvious difference being that Kendo is performed with 2 people in a duel, and Iaido is all prearranged forms, or kata, with an imaginary opponent and uses an actual sharp blade, whereas Kendo uses the bamboo fencing foil called shinai. They both evolved in Japan. Kendo is
Luther from Gladstone, how you doing, man?
1,000 years back in history.
We're learning about... Oh, another follow as well. Thank you for the follow, Luther.
Most likely towards the end of the 15th century. Starts to blossom during the 16th century.
I know this isn't the most exciting thing in the world, but it's roping me in. Like, yeah, always like learning more about. We've had this run today of just playing like educational programs from the Windows 3.1 era. We did one about Isaac Asimov and robots and stuff before, but yeah, this is kind of fun. Alright, no, we gotta skip past this guy. Iaido. Is there anything else exciting? A couple of different techniques. Yeah, ninjutsu, so I can talk a bit about this one, because I did a little bit of it. Complex martial art based largely on the tactical teachings of Sun Tzu's Art of War. Combines open-handed weapon fighting techniques. Because I know this derived from... This is what ninjas were taught, I suppose, because it was illegal to carry a sword in Japan unless you were a samurai. So there'd be a lot of these would be workaround techniques. Let's have a look. And this sort of combined a bit of everything. It's like strikes, grappling, weapons. I remember reading up on Spiel's The Grandmaster at the time, when I do this, like, late 2000s.
Weaponry is a very important
I'll
part of
wait till
ninjutsu
this
training.
guy's finished. Hang on.
We refer to weapons as ningu, or ninja tools, because most of our weapons have multi-purposes. And also we're not as attached to them as, say, the samurai class may be.
Yeah, that was
They
a
were
big thing
used
too.
as a means of facilitating whatever goals we needed to accomplish. The weapons we have are multi-purpose, and we have a large number of them.
This is a shuriken. It's a historic weapon used by the Togakure-ryu ninja. It wasn't really for inflicting
The cameraman just goes,
damage. What it did was the rusted tips would inflict infection.
Yeah, I remember that front kick. That front kick was sort of early ones. Yeah, I think it was a rubber one. They'd have rubber training ones for the classroom. But trying to remember what other fun stuff. I saw a few of the weapons. Yeah, so all the weapons were stuffed either can or so a can or a samurai sword. So you had the jute, which is what the cops used at the time. Kusari Gama, which was like the kama they used for cutting grass with like a chain on the end. Bit of everything. There was like kunai. They're not very big. They're meant to be thrown, and they're not the giant ones like you get in fucking Naruto and shit. Plenty of stuff on here. Yeah, this would probably be just having a quick look through this, because this would be touching on the historical side of it. Active from the Ashikaga period to the Tokugawa shogunate. One story tells how Japanese warlord Oda Nobunaga sent a ninja dwarf to assassinate his rival Kenshin. Okay. Kenshin, realizing that his life was in danger, had surrounded himself with loyal troops at all times. After much consideration, the ninja finally discovered the one place where he would find Kenshin alone, in the toilet. Oh, that's messed up. When Kenshin finally sat down, the ninja shoved the spear through his anus with such force that it came out of Kenshin's mouth. Oh my god. And that's perfect, because it was medieval time, so it was like a hole in the ground. Yeah, so apparently Oda Nobunaga, Ninja Dwarf, got him to hide in the toilet, and just got him with a spear. And I remember there was a lot of famous ninja families that they've touched on, the Koga, the Iga. There was an assassin sent after Tokugawa Ieyasu. Ieyasu, I should say. Two ninja were old friends. Because a lot of this is, some of it's historically true. Like, they've found the writings, but obviously you can't see the, yeah, don't know if it actually went down or not. Thrown in the boat, philosophy, Buddhist monks. Yeah, sorry, just skimming through this to find more interesting stuff. Oh no, we can hear more about this guy.
Philosophically, it is a survival-based system to develop your own personal empowerment so that you can live your life as freely and with reaching your ultimate level of enlightenment, I guess. That would be sort of the overriding goal. The religious portions of it, it has some distinct relationship, or certain influences have come to it philosophically, and in certain.
Is it just me, or this guy looks a bit like Jordan Peele to me? And yeah, definitely ninja glasses for sure.
But it is
true ninja sees all.
Designed for personal.
But that was definitely a big thing.
Personal excellence.
Because they were also used as spies, not just assassins. An adult ninja was expected to be able to run 125 miles in a single day and spend as much as 3 minutes underwater. Okay. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. They'd learn how to dislocate parts of their body so they could escape after being tied up. Yeah, the ninjato, that's the smaller, straighter version of the katana. Bo, hanbo.
Then you need to study Ninjutsu, just the desire to improve yourself, to constantly wish to learn more about yourself. Ninjutsu,
yeah, it definitely got picked up by the West. So everyone wanted to be the cool ninja guy. So we got this side now. I might go the other way, because the finish on Kung Fu. So we'll start with karate. The Dane Cook of martial arts, as Archer says. Let's look at the karate guy. There's no actual game on this one. Like, my thing is, like, I grew up with Windows 3.1 back in the day, and there were a lot of, it was sort of the advent of CD-ROM technology. So you'd get games, but you'd get educational programs like this. Like, I think the big one was Microsoft Encarta, which had like a little game built in, but mostly it was just like, yeah, videos and information. And it was sort of like, there is a lot of information here too. And it was sort of mind-blowing technology-wise at the time, like, just having all this information on one little disc. Yeah, and you had to be big budget to have it in schools and stuff like that. You couldn't have a copy for every kid, like, you just, yeah. Actually, no, I remember most of the computers at school had Encarta in one way or another. And yeah, we got it at home eventually, because we had like the actual set of encyclopedias that were immediately obsolete as soon as we got that one little CD. Actually, no, this would have been a little bit after the video game crash. This would have been early, mid-90s. So yeah, like, you obviously had Nintendo. SNES would have just come out for Nintendo, Mega Drive, or Genesis as well. Yeah, a little bit after. No, this is sort of the advent of, because this technology came out, we got the FMV game, and we've played a lot of those on stream, and they've been, like, stupid fun. Most notably, like the Sega CD games. I still want to do. There's one called Supreme Warrior, which is kind of like it's FMV martial arts fighting, and you sort of have to like do the prompts at the right time. It's a little bit different, but we've covered it. I do ad streams as well, and we watch like ads and promotional videos, and we saw one of the studios at the time that were actually making 3 games at the same time in different parts of the world. One was Corpse Killer in the US, another one was Slam City with Scottie Pippen, and the third one was Supreme Warrior, but they actually flew to China and got to film it at Shaw Brothers Studios, which I thought was cool.
We call martial art is a moving Zen. That means we look tough, we look good, okay, when nothing happened. But when you have to face a death, we are very shaky, and everybody basically coward. On the other hand, some moments we can be very courageous, because of we find out ourselves and we find out our object, what we have to do. But these moments, critical moments, everybody, when you experience, your mentality gets shaky and you don't know where you are.
The audio quality on this is terrible as well.
We try to be strong mental person. We call it immovable mind. That means calm and normal and steady.
I like they're trying to get a weird compromise on, because they're getting the actual Japanese instructors that can't really explain. They know what they're doing, but they can't really explain it. And you've got like the Western guys, the kind of the nerds that are into it, that can articulate it a little bit better.
Is immovable mind.
Do we get any like actual thingos though? I want to see some. A little bit of like martial art. Oh, look at this guy. All right, so I've seen, I haven't done it myself, but there was a guy that just came for a visit when I was doing my Muay Thai, who did Silat. It's the technique they use in the raid, that in Indonesian one with what's his name, Iko Uwais. It's an interesting one. I'm trying to remember if it's the one circular flowing movements. Yeah. Rigid fighting form. But they're mentioning Kali sticks. So I think the whole thing with Silat was that you got taught to attack at various angles. There was like 12 angles. And that's sort of how you learnt your Kali sticks at the very least. But there was an actual unarmed martial art in there. I think, yeah, like I remember, I think Sir Francis Drake got his ass handed to him. Like certain explorers over the years have died because they've tried to convert native villagers who know these martial arts and just get their asses handed to them. But let's talk to Phil Collins with hair here, see what he says about Silat.
My name is Greg Allen. I am referred to as Mas Guru. Mas Guru refers
Indonesia,
to
that's where it's from. That's right.
In this particular art, because
in
Indonesia, what we see is a basic form of martial arts, because the body movements can only extend to so many different postures and positions. In Pencak Silat, we learn that the student is really studying martial arts to become a leader. He's not a follower.
And he's trying to do a mullet, but it's growing at like 2 different lengths.
And he shares his art, and in that way he learns more. So it is a very sinewy dance kind of art where you don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I must admit that was, because I actually got to spar with the guy, and it's
okay, I'm going to strike a certain
part of it
way.
fell in combat. Yeah, got knocked off by a strike. Just part of the hair came off.
Punch someone, we use the material that we create.
But no, I found that with Silat, it's actually very hard to read attacks with him.
Differ from one practitioner to the next. This is what we call Pencak Silat. So when we look at Pencak Silat, we look at the protective skill. When we see the other aspect, or the brother or the sister art of that, we look at Kali, and we see the same art primarily, only more weapons applications.
Oh yeah, because you could do single or double Kali sticks as well. Yeah, Kali sticks are messed up. Because you're meant to go for, because it's like a thin stick, you're meant to be, it's quick and you're meant to be going for weak points, which is usually the temple. Like you give someone a crack on the temple, they go down, basically. Hinduism, Buddhism. Just having a look. Hey, you got the emote. Nice. I do like that emote. Alright, just see what else I got.
Kali and Penchak Silat are of
Just seeing if there's more interesting things in regards to Silat.
With an exception that the Filipino does not define himself as an Indonesian, but that was some of the first blood of the Filipino. They came from Malaysia, from Indonesia.
Yeah, that's right. Because it's the same area. It sort of merged into the Philippines as well.
What they found in the Philippines, they didn't have in Indonesia, and that was the quandary of metal. They had a lot of metal, so they could build longer blades.
Oh, you gotta go? Yeah, thanks for the follow and all that,
so their fighting skills changed
catch you around the way.
somewhat.
Okay, what do we got? More techniques. Is he just going to keep talking shit, or are we...
Traditionally, in Indonesia, the whole culture came with all of the practices of the dance of life, whether they called it Penchak Silat or whether they called it Parisian. It was all the same art. In other words, the Indonesian people were all practicing the same art. They were practicing a method, a fighting method, if you will, but a method of survival, even though they crossed the lines of using that just for fighting. Because no, they used it within the family to bring the family closer, to use it spiritually was very, very important in Indonesia, to try to get that mental capacity to expand. We have all heard of the legends of people.
I like the little glitch on the video there,
et cetera. They get that way from practice of their belief. So you have to have a belief of some sort in order to practice Penchak Silat. Every combat sparks the trance. In other words, the element is to lose oneself so that one is not confused by the pain involved in being struck.
Yeah, this is what I was touching on earlier.
About, through the spontaneity of the situation.
Yeah, okay, so we touched on that briefly. Oh yeah, Chris knives. That's yeah, Chris comes from Silat. Does it say anything about the No, because apparently they could like fold something into the metal to give the blade like a toxic effect or something like that. But
because
yeah.
in Penchak Silat,
yeah, it's like those wavy short knives, the ones that
really
sort of curve like that.
Studying martial arts to become a leader. He's not a follower. He doesn't go with blinders. He goes with an open mind, and he shares his art, and in that way he learns more, and he learns all of the
I've never heard of a chop hang as well. On
that
club.
come from the basics.
Two tines on either side near the weapon's handle. Oh, similar to a sai. Okay. Yeah, righto. And use that. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's some Kali stuff. Kali is national martial art of the Philippines. Knife fighting. Name comes from the Tagalog word Kalis, meaning long dagger or knife. Okay, so we get some Kali stuff here. Can't tell if they're slowing it down for us or not. Yeah, righto. Okay, there's like a machete. Do we show off the Chris, or are they just doing... But yeah, there's a bit of that. From what I was saying before, you're learning striking angles. And it translates, so you start with Kali and then work your way up to machete and stuff like that. be a lot of yelling involved as well. Yeah, right. Okay. Oh, no. Was there more to see about? Yeah, there was more there for Kali, I think. Hang on, we'll flick back to that. Keeps going on. Kali. Philosophy, techniques, and mostly knives. Okay. Oh, and that was it. Alright. So we'll go back. Taekwondo. Alright. Yeah, traditional martial art of Korea. Powerful kicks and punches. Probably more focus on kicks, if I remember.
Taekwondo is a Korean martial art. It has its roots in ancient Korean martial arts. You could probably, it would probably be safe to say that the origins of the Korean martial arts come from China.
Remember I could kick that high.
That's a fair assumption.
Oh.
But as the different martial arts developed in different countries, for example in China, Japan, and Korea, they developed different strengths.
Ah, yeah, that was one of the
styles.
basic
For example,
forms as
Chinese
well.
styles
You used
tend
to
be
have
much
to do
more
that for
circular
gradings.
and fluid. The Japanese styles tend to be very rigid, with a lot of emphasis on hand techniques. Taekwondo is somewhere in between. It uses fluid motions at the same time, while at the same time generating very powerful techniques.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't really know much about the history for Taekwondo either. Yeah, out of like most Asian countries, like Korea is probably a blind spot for me. Yep, alright.
Overall, I would say that the development of Taekwondo as a sport has done wonders for Taekwondo and for martial arts in general. I think that the approach of Taekwondo in really making the whole art into a science has made martial arts better.
There has been a tremendous explosion in the popularity of Taekwondo as a sport, witnessed by the inclusion of Taekwondo as an Olympic sport, a demonstration sport.
Yeah, I definitely remember it being big in the 90s, like more so than a lot of other, like, yeah, you never used to see like Kung Fu or Wing Chun stuff being taught. It was usually Taekwondo or karate.
Is a Korean martial art. It has its roots in ancient Korean martial arts. You could probably, it would probably be safe to say that the origins of the Korean martial arts come from China. But as the different martial arts developed in different countries, for example in China, Japan, and Korea, they developed different strengths and different styles. For example, the Chinese styles tend to be much more circular and fluid. The Japanese styles tend to be very rigid.
Yeah, that seems to cover it pretty well, I think. I'm guessing he's going to go on a bit more on the next page. Yeah, here we go.
I think it's important to realize that as much as Taekwondo is a martial art, every school is different in the same sense that every individual is different. Every instructor has their own way of teaching. Every instructor has their own personalities. I think as somebody who is trying to find a Taekwondo school or a martial arts school, you really have to visit the place, get a feel for what the school is about, what the philosophy of the school is, how the people interact.
Oh, yeah. And I just saw they're talking about the styles here. Oh yeah, Chinese Mongolian grappling, Tang Soo Do, Hapkido. Couple of little offshoots there. Yeah, I want to see a little bit about Sing He because it's the only one I don't really know too much about. One of the Ninja or internal styles of Kung Fu, closely related to Tai Chi and Pakwa, teaches how to subordinate one's body or Sing and one's will or Yi, creating powerful movements with minimal expensive energy. Like Tai Chi and Pakwa, Sing Yi is deeply rooted in Chinese medicine, Chinese perceptions of nature. Its blows are derived from the 5 traditional Chinese elements: earth, metal, fire, water, wood. Like other forms of kung fu, it is complex, almost dance-like routines based on the movements of animals because of its emphasis on a rigorous training regimen, breathing exercises, and meditation. Many Singhi masters and students have attained remarkable physical prowess and repeatedly longevity. Okay.
And do 12 and form, single form. Snake.
Ah, yeah, a couple of different forms there. It's getting a lot of power just putting stomp in there as well. Because, yeah, definitely a lot of, like I've seen a lot of striking ones where Ninjutsu sort of covered that. Like, you're meant to be putting your full body weight into each strike. And a couple other, like, yeah, a lot of your Kung Fu ones seem to have workarounds. Like, it's sort of, you get a lot of power from having your hand open, then closing it for the strike. Yeah, you're usually putting a lot of hip and shoulder into it as well. I like that too. I'm interested as well because they're not showing off a lot of the practical applications, I guess. Like, yeah, they're not showing sparring or anything with these ones. Because I love that too. Like, yeah, I'm definitely thinking of a lot of my favorite martial arts movies. And I usually like the ones that combine more than one style. Like, what's his face? Master of the Flying Guillotine was cool because they have a tournament halfway through, and they're usually having, yeah, two different martial arts kind of clashing with each other. And there was a Muay Thai guy in that as well. Just lots of, yeah, on it, yeah, not really much covering Tsingyi, Tai Chi. Yeah. Oh, they can't even dub this guy.
The system of
oh, no, there we
Tai
go.
Chi that we are currently practicing is based on the system of 5 different families.
You want a pop filter on that mic, buddy?
From the Chinese Martial Arts Federation in China, who tried to unify the Tai Chi systems because there were too many different styles and systems in use. So they took the masters from the 5 families together in one place, and after discussion they came up with the unified system which we have practiced since that time. Results of the original draft somehow came to Grandmaster Wong Chu Ching. He modified this.
Yeah, like obviously you don't use Tai Chi for combat. It was more
on Ching, Yi and Bakwa.
kind of like similar principles to yoga, like the body movements are sort of
the
strengthening.
Now is
Because you're doing them slowly, you're building up muscle.
That was created by the
and it's supposed to be like, yeah, good at
that time.
Bringing out energy.
So even if you're studying philosophy or whether you're a martial artist, you can use this system to look
Actually, no, I have seen it used. It's just not used in martial arts often. It's more about redirecting energy from strikes. Best example is probably the landlord in Kung Fu Hustle. Because it's, I know they had to fictionalize it a little bit because there's parts in that like he's actually able to like redirect a punch just from using his face muscles. So you see like the slow-mo punch and like you see the face kind of push it away so it hits the other guy. Just, yeah, A little bit weird. But you still see, like, yeah, you go to a park in a city and you'll usually see people doing, in the mornings, you'll see them doing Tai Chi. And it's, yeah, it definitely covers more the spiritual side of things. Like, doing this is obviously, you're controlling your breathing, you're getting into, like, the right state of mind, I suppose, practicing these. And yeah, oh yeah, it's sort of covering, Taoism, yin and yang. There's a fair bit of stuff in there about it. Okay, the physical exercises of Tai Chi are intended to restore the balance of the yin and the yang. Okay. Yeah, a little bit boring. Moving on. This might be a combat application. Okay. Yeah, so it's all about redirection rather than straight attacks or purely defensive stuff. Movement extends up the legs and hips to the base of the spine, flows back to the hips and rises to the arms. Oh, yeah, they just got to do photos for that one. Okay. Yep, okay. Wasn't much on Tai Chi. We've got Kung Fu lastly. Commonly used generic term for several hundred traditional Chinese martial arts, sometimes called Chinese boxing. Literally, Kung Fu means a man's effort, which is understood as exercise. Wushu, the more accepted term in mainland China, means martial arts. Because of the popularity of Bruce Lee films in the United States of the 70s, Kung Fu is the name by which Chinese martial arts became known in the West. In fact, the term Kung Fu is used by only one of China's many dialects, Cantonese. This is the dialect spoken in Hong Kong, where Bruce Lee lived and where most of his movies were made. Other names for Kung Fu in Kwang Fa in Beijing or Kakute Jutsu in Japan. Okay. But yeah, they do. There is definitely a lot of techniques and schools for Kung Fu.
The most immediate characteristic of eagle claw is the claw, and that here.
Oh yeah,
clawing would be used to latch onto, and usually when you claw for pressure points depending on which part of the body, whether it's
and a good way to get your fingers broken as soon as someone hits your hand.
It's also characterized by flowing fluid movements, the flower.
Oh yeah, you can integrate it with swords as well. Okay.
Striking, because a lot of times they hit with the wings.
I love that all this martial arts training and knowledge. It's not getting your hair back.
It's a lot of jumping. Don't have room to jump, but it's high jumping to simulate explosiveness. But it's also a lot of low rooting stances, so you can really drop. You have to have strong, powerful legs.
I can't even see what he's using there. It must be knives or something.
When you're moving, you flow like a river. When you're not moving, you're sturdy like a mountain.
Oh yeah, gin as well. Because I've seen that, like I remember getting into Sleeping Dogs when it first came out, because it had a few kung fu techniques, but a lot of it seemed to be more adapted to street fighting. Yeah, a bit of them in there. Yeah, we'll just watch this guy a bit
In
more.
early Kung Fu, they don't really draw the distinction. In Northern Kung Fu, the animals pretty much are blended together. In Southern Kung Fu, it became a little more separate. You had 5 major animals. You had leopard, which would be quick strikes using maybe the knuckles, using points, different kinds of strikes, but very speed-oriented. You had the crane, which would be long, open movements like the wings moving. You have the snake, which would be quick pressure point strikes, attacking vital organs with a spear of a hand or something.
You would have tiger, which would be your power, and the power of the form of the animal. And then you would have dragon, which would be your locks. You're tying the person up, getting into the waist, really tying a person up real tight.
Yeah, right. Bodhidharma.
In the martial arts, the best thing to do if you're interested in the martial arts is really learn about all of the styles, find out the characteristics of the style, the characteristics of the school, the characteristics of the instructor, and find which one is right for you.
Oh, okay, that one just cut off. You're going to keep talking shit, or we're going to see some more techniques?
We encourage people after they develop a foundation in Eagle Claw to understand the Tai Chi. We have a lot of different training, even without doing the Tai Chi, that develops the Chi. What Chi is just your internal energy. And some people might say it's your spirit. You hear all these terms, life force, but it's basically what the body isn't.
Yeah, I was just having a look at other stuff here as well, because I like that with. I know Avatar: The Last Airbender.
And you'll have certain exercises
did
which we call Qigong,
good research on that, and like
exercises, just different ways
they'd
of
have the
breathing
different
to
martial
channel
arts style
energy
for each
and
element.
movements. Then there are certain exercises.
Because what was it? Air was
just
Bagua, water was Tai Chi,
hold it to let the energy
earth
flow
was
through
Hunger,
you.
and
then there are
fire
even
was
hard
Northern Shaolin
Qigong.
Kung Fu.
A lot of karate systems tend to use a harder Qigong, and you'll see tension in it. And it's all different ways to start learning how to focus your energy to certain areas of the body.
Yeah, right. And I just realised too, I'm starting to say that that's basically me fitter and more nerdier. Okay. So what other areas have we got? Can we go back to... Oh yeah, we can go back to the thing. So there was the actual journal, which is, I think... Oh, okay, and they've done like a little pretend thing.
As I walked into the Kendo
Oh, they've
dojo, I saw
written it
two
out, though.
sword fighters, each dressed in a hakama, divided skirt, a keikogi, jacket, and men, head and face mask. Their teacher explained to me that Kendo combined traditional sword fighting, called Kenjutsu, with other sword and stick techniques. I saw one student in the back of the dojo practicing to draw and sheath a sword, and the teacher later explained that the student was practicing Aikido.
Okay, so I have a feeling they're just making up the journal, because someone's basically just gotten the Kendo guy from the video we saw earlier and just drawn over him. Do we actually get the video if we... Yeah, okay.
My name is
Yeah.
Daniel T. Ebihara.
Yeah, so it's the video we saw before. And there you go. Oh, it's written it out for us, okay.
Shinai is always held with both hands because of the weapon's weight. Rather than placing the hands side by side, they are kept slightly apart in order to give the Kendo fencer greater mobility. Because blows are often aimed at the hands, the kote, or fencing glove, is an important protective guard. The teacher taught me the 7 scoring blows of Kendo, which were mostly slicing motions. The hakama, or divided skirt, was developed for use in Aikido and Kendo. It is very baggy and...
I like this side of it too, because they're going into like the in-depths of the actual martial arts stuff.
Complemented by short, quick
like the actual movements, like we sort of covered the history, haven't we?
Blows, while at the same time striking a vital weak spot or throwing their opponent off balance. During a match, the two opponents face each other. However, as in Jiu Jitsu, Aikido, Judo, and other martial arts of Japan, a swordsman moves to the side in order to strike a blow to his opponent's weak side or to cause him to lose balance. Strikes consist of quick, thrusting jabs or high, arching blows from the side or above. Only the head, torso, and hands are targets. Before striking, the attacker must shout out his intended target. If he fails to do so, no points are awarded.
Ah, okay, that's the whole deal with it. Do we get some more demos? Oh, there's actual, like, so they... Yeah, I don't remember us seeing this one. Oh no, we did. Sorry. I should point out they're being very fucking careful because, yeah, if you're using swords, they're definitely using the shinai for training, and the swords would not be blunted. That's what you kind of earn. You earn the right to use the sword once you're well enough trained.
The teacher explained to me that the bamboo stick called Fukoro Shinai, now used in Kendo, replaced the katana, samurai sword, and bokken, solid wooden sword, in the 18th century as the official weapon of fencing matches. At times, however, some fencers still use their katana and bokken.
So you probably use the katana solo just to, because it definitely is a lot heavier than a shinai or bokken.
Chest protector called a do, and established a regulatory size and weight for the bamboo sword. With this sword, the teacher asserted, a fencer can strike an opponent with great force without causing any physical injury.
And I must admit, like, I've seen it in action. Like, if you're hitting, the shinai still fucking stings when you get hit. I have seen it draw blood previously. Was this? Yeah, let's see what they said about Silat. Hang on, have they Asianed up like Phil Collins? Yeah. Just the way they drew him was funny.
He showed me how he incorporated dance-like movements into his art. It reminded me of Kung Fu, and he confirmed that they indeed shared common roots. However, Penchak Silat mimicked.
Yeah, they seem to waffle on a little bit. But yeah, I like that it's a good way of kind of reusing your videos and other stuff just to save space on the disc. Yeah, a fair bit involved with that side of it too. What does the map take us? That just tells us about China. Okay. Taiwan, Burma, Malaysia. Just shows you the map. Okay. Anything else cool in the library? No, we don't. Can we go? Yeah, let's check out the gallery because there might be fun stuff in here. What do we got? Nature, Buddha, Legends, Warriors, Timeline. Okay. We can go to all the other places for here. Oh, hang on. Ah, they chucked in a little FMV game thing. Okay.
The tradition in East Asia of
yeah, okay, I wasn't
thinking
expecting
and calligraphy
this.
as it relates to the martial arts is a very ancient tradition, several thousand years old. The training involved in becoming a martial artist, as well as the training involved in becoming a painter or a calligrapher in East Asia, in Korea, Japan, China, is one that requires practice every day, that develops the relationships between the master and student that is so essential to the martial arts, which is in
so who is this guy?
Oral tradition that it's passed on.
Is it the martial artist that just said, "Oh fuck it, I'm just going to wear a suit"?
Practice his methods and his methodology, and eventually, if you are persistent and have some degree of talent, you eventually become the master, and the process repeats itself. All of the great military and martial arts heroes and masters of the past were often in conjunction practiced calligraphy and painting. The martial arts side is obviously
yeah, I always love that integration as well. Like
side of
for
one's life.
I think there was the Zhang Yimou movie Hero.
A creative side.
That sort of said that like calligraphy is integrated in martial arts as well.
In the traditions of East Asia, literary
Like the whole,
tradition,
I like they
studying
did that.
of the
I think
classics, the understanding of the classics,
Shaolin Soccer and
an appreciation
the Karate
for
Kid remake
visual,
sort of touched on that. That everything is
art.
kung fu,
The calligraphy, specifically the movement,
and sort
the
of
use
showed that
the
off in a
brush,
bit of a better
calligraphic
way.
brush, can be, there's a direct correlation between the use of any weapon in a martial arts style. It's the extension of the body, it is the use of, or the focusing of the energy, the chi, or ki in Japanese, and this is made manifest in the final work of art. So the process involved in calligraphy and actually using the brush and focusing the mind, cleaning the mind, cleansing the mind, being relaxed and focused is exactly what one wishes to attain in the martial arts. So
yeah, I'll point that out as well. If you happen to be a member of the Wu-Tang Clan and want to do stuff for a new album, see if you can take samples from this. I could go a bit of that. I could go some more Wu-Tang. So, what's the... Okay, so they've done like a full-blown like island you can travel around in. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely wasn't expecting this as part of the multimedia experience. And you just mosey around and... Oh, and you can click on check out some art. Yeah, righto. Yeah, this is actually pretty cool. Yep. And, oh, that might be, shit, I forgot the name of the guy. The guy who did The Great Wave off Kanagawa. Probably one of his paintings. No, he didn't paint. Sorry, he does, woodblock. So they like carve the thing on a block of wood and press it into paper. And what else we got? Yep. Lady. It's got a child, I don't know. Do we get any info? Oh, we get the zoomed in. There we go.
Tale of Genji, Utamaro. This is a scene from the Tale of Genji, perhaps the first novel ever written. It tells of the life of Prince Genji against the
Look at this
background
angry
of
bunny.
court life in medieval Japan. In this scene, the infant prince is amused by a rabbit held by his nurse.
I got a rabbit, he's a rocket launcher. Okay. Now I want to go back. I just want to confirm if this one is... Because I forgot the name of the guy. I actually went to the art gallery in the NGV and saw... It's not a big painting either. It's like the size, probably the door of a microwave. It's how big the Great Wave of Kanagawa is.
Daimyo with Mount Fuji in the background, Japan, by Hokusai.
Yeah, Hokusai, that's the
A
guy.
multicolored woodblock print by Hokusai. This was surely a common sight during the lifetime of the famous draftsman and printmaker Hokusai, 1760-1849, in which a group of daimyo, or feudal lords, bearing wrapped guns, are travelling on foot throughout the pleasure quarters of Edo. Brothels in those times were referred to as greenhouses, and these are seen in the background and foreground.
Oh, okay. It's like, yeah, I'll just head off to the knock shop with me mates, carry my guns around. Yeah, because, yeah, definitely by 1600s, it would have had flintlock rifles in Japan. So what other stuff's upstairs?
Tea Kettle, Japan, by Hakuin Ekaku, 1685-1768. Hakuin was one of the most important of the later Zen painters. This one is Sumi-e ink on paper. The inanimate
Sumi-e is charcoal.
Confident personality
Charcoal
of
mixed
its
with
own.
water.
The inscription translates as...
Because I love that, yeah, when I saw the Hokusai exhibit at the gallery, like, you'd see woodblock prints that had, like, so, like, the Sumi-e ink's obviously, deteriorated, because it's 500-something years old, but you could actually see the indentation of the print in the paper. I thought that was cool. Just so... There's definitely a lot more art to go around.
Landscape Japan. This is a kakemono, or hanging scroll, an ink painting of the Suiboku school created during the 16th century. It is much more illustrative in character than the Zen paintings, with much meticulous detail.
Okay. There's a bit more over the other side we can... Oh, another painting here.
Landscape with Waterfall by an unknown artist of the Onkoko school, Japan. This is an unsigned sumi-e ink painting executed during the Monoyama period. The seal in the corner says Onkoku, and it is believed to have been done around 1600. It suggests a waterfall and boats in a landscape. It is a good example of Zen painting in that the brush strokes, though minimal, are extremely accurate and balanced, allowing the mind of the gazer to complete what the artist has judiciously left out.
Yeah, 'cause there's definitely
Zen
a lot of
paintings
negative
this
space
sort
in that.
are contemplative, introverted, subtle, suggestive, and often employ themes from nature.
Okay. So can we just... Are we able to just, like, travel around doing this, thingo? We can just leave here. I guess we go back to the forecourt area. I'm actually genuinely impressed that there's this much video content on a CD. Because I don't think it was very big. I don't think the file... How big's the actual thing? Oh no, this is, 655 megs all up, so definitely taking full advantage of a CD. I've probably got, this will be another... Oh, we got a laptop. Oh, we can head back. No, I want to check out... There's cool shit in the galleries. Do we just... Oh, okay, so we can just click here to fast travel. And go check out Buddha. Whatever Buddha entails. Okay, and just travel around like a rudimentary temple or something. Let me just get close-ups again. Oh, yeah.
Kuan Yin, the Buddhist goddess of mercy.
Hey, I know about Kuan
This
Yin.
gilded wooden head is all that remains from a statue.
She's the one that puts the little circlet on Sun Wukong.
The Buddhist goddess of mercy.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's right. They had it as a... They had him as a guy in the in Monkey Magic, if I remember correctly.
The storyteller, Shidoken, Japan. This is a wonderful, humorous
Stay a while and listen.
print by the artist Okumura Masanobu, who lived between 1686 and 1764. Shidoken, the monk, has a mischievous expression, not surprising for one who uses a wooden phallus to knock on the table, should any
Oh, that's what he's
start
got.
to drift off into sleep. The poem, in calligraphic characters at the top left, reads, "An overripe persimmon shaped like daruma with a rotten bottom." What could his story have been about?
Daruma with a rotten bottom? Okay. Yeah, I know what a Daruma is, but I suppose they're wooden, so they would rot.
Seated Kanzeon Botsatu, Japan, 27 centimeters high. Also referred to as the kneeling Buddha, this figure is the
Yeah, so they're only really covering Japanese Buddhism for this one. Okay.
It was executed between the 10th and 11th centuries during the Fujiwara period. The sculptural technique is called the Ichibaku Style, which means that its main body was carved from a single block of wood, and the protruding parts were separately carved and then joined onto the central part.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can sort of see the joins there.
Though stylized, characteristic of Zazen, that is, Zen meditation.
Okay. So... Oh, we can't molest Buddha. Alright. I mean, yeah, if Buddha's ascended, he's learned the way of nothingness. We can't touch him, because he can't touch something that doesn't exist. Oh, sorry.
Jizo Bosatsu, 36 centimeters high, between 1185 and 1333.
Sorry, just have to have
This
a quick
figure is a
stretch.
bodhisattva especially dear to children and travelers. It was created during the Kamakura period in wood using the Ichibaku technique, embellished with gold leaf with a motif referred to as the kirikane pattern. The figure has a small door in its back for holding devotional objects. The stick held in his right hand is to drive small animals away, lest they get stepped on, so great is his compassion for living things. In the other hand,
that's
he
the point
holds
of the
Tama,
staff. Okay.
a legendary
It's got
jewel
little
said to be
rings that
found
shake
by
when
a
you
woman diver in a dragon's
down.
palace inside the sea. Bodhidharma leading followers. This Sumi-e painting contains a humorous depiction of Bodhidharma and his followers. It expresses the unattached lightness of monks who have no worldly possession or attachments.
Okay. Yeah, like, it was not expecting like a full-blown art gallery to be in this. You can kind of wander around. Wish they'd come up with a different sound effect to move around, though. Oh, they even, like, sort of have it in 3D? Okay. This...
The Buddha Amida, 67 centimeters high, late 12th century. This striking wooden figure of the Amida Buddha was made during the Kamakura period using the Warihagi sculptural technique. Each separate part is carved out of separate blocks, which are hollowed out. Then these parts are joined together for the body of the figure. The details are then executed in lacquer and gold leaf. Upon close inspection, one sees that the eyes are of crystal, as is the orna, or third eye. The ushisha, a cranial protuberance, represents the spirit straining to push out of the skull.
That's what it represents? Okay. And yeah, you just sort of mosey just a couple of little extra bits in there. Okay. So we've seen stuff about what do we got? Legends, warriors, and a timeline. Let's head to legends, I suppose. Oh, we just got straight fast travel. Okay.
Gigaku mask, Japan, from the 16th century. Lacquer on wood, artist unknown. Gigaku was a religious form of dance from Wu, China. This mask depicts a guardian spirit. A fierce visage was used to frighten away evil spirits. The Japanese adopted these forms of dance and created their version of the masks and costumes that accompanied them.
Okay. All the stuff we got in here. So does this just depict legends, I say? Okay.
Daruma, Sumi-e on paper by the artist Onkoku Toke between 1591 and 1644. Daruma is depicted with his characteristic stare. The legend goes that Daruma, who meditated almost constantly, became annoyed with himself for falling asleep during a meditation session and cut off his eyelids to ensure permanent vigilance.
Oh, fucking hell.
The eyelids fell to the ground where they took root and became the tea plant used since ancient times for scholars to resist sleep.
Oh, okay. I'm wondering if, like, the Dharma figurines are based off this guy, maybe? Because that's the whole thing with Dharma. You get it with one eye painted in. No, that's right. You start with no eyes. You make a wish and paint in one eye. And if that wish is ever fulfilled, you paint in the second eye. That was the whole thing with the Dharma statues. What's this one? Another...
Daruma, light Sumi-e on paper, painted during the Muromachi period between the 15th and 16th
Yeah, I wonder how you
centuries
get
by
different
an
colours
anonymous
with
artist.
Sumi ink. Yeah, that's a cool one too. Look around a bit more here.
Daruma, light Sumi-e on paper, painted during the Muromachi period between the 15th and 16th centuries by an anonymous artist.
Okay.
The Hu-bird, Chinese, 17th century.
Oh, we're getting some
Tempera
Chinese stuff
painting
too.
on silk, unknown artist. This legendary bird is said to appear once every 10,000 years, only during the lucky reign of a benevolent emperor. It is the basis for the Western phoenix legends.
Yeah, righto. There you go. Probably only one more thing on. I can head out. Is there any more? No, it just flicks back around there. Yeah, let's try Warriors. Look at the what fun stuff we got here. Oh, is that the exit? Or can we go? Oh no, we just exited. Okay. I forgot it. And yeah, back to the start bit. Okay. No, I wanna read up on some warriors. Oh, no, there we go. Okay. We get the transition back to the warriors bit. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting way to sort of showcase stuff like this. Right, so let's... What can we do from here?
Dragon, Korea, 20th century. Hanging scroll colors on paper. The dragon is the most famous mythical animal in East Asia. Dragons come in many varieties. There are heavenly dragons, earthly dragons, spirit dragons, sea dragons, and others.
Okay. So what's this got to do with... So it's just more paintings. Is it relating to specific people?
Miyamoto Musashi,
Oh, yeah.
Japan, 17th century. Hanging scroll, ink and color on paper. Musashi is the author of the Go-Rin no Shi, or the Book of Five Rings, a classical text on strategy. In this early 17th century depiction, which may be a self-portrait, Musashi is depicted with both swords drawn in apparent readiness for conflict.
Yeah, I don't know. What's this one now?
Chapter 10, closing line from Sun Zi Bing Fa, China, 20th century. Hanging scroll, ink on paper. The most famous ancient text related to strategy is Master Sun's The Art of War. It reads, "Know your opponent and know yourself, and you will be victorious and never lose. Know the workings of heaven and earth, and your victories will be complete." The calligraphic style used in this case is one of the oldest styles, known as seal script.
Yeah, okay. That's cool to see a bit of Sun Tzu floating around. Oh, it just flicks back to this bit. Okay. I want to see if I can go a bit. Oh, you flick around this way. Okay.
Wu Yi Jing Jin, China, 20th century. Hanging scroll, ink on paper. This expression can have several different translations into English, and therefore can be appreciated on several different levels simultaneously. It can be literally, "Through the martial arts my spirit progresses," or "Through the balance of warlike qualities and the arts one's spirit will progress."
Oh, yeah.
These characters are written in a rapid-flowing cursive style of writing.
What was...
Actors Playing Samurai by Tori Kiyomasu. This is a scene from Kabuki theater, a block print in the Urishie technique. This technique is a wood block print which is colored by hand with metallic powders, then lacquered. The lacquer is then burnished to give it a rich sheen. Kabuki theater is said to have started during the Edo period by a renegade Shinto priestess around the year 1600 as a direct result of the literary outpouring and innovations of the era. It still lives on as a highly stylized art form, passed down through generations of actors' families.
Yeah. This is the style you sort of see when they're doing kabuki stuff, I guess. Oh no, it's still flying around. Okay.
Samurai, Japanese woodcut, 1810, by Utagawa Toyokuni. This print depicts an actor dressed in characteristic samurai fashion. Note the crisp lines, highly stylized geometric composition, and dramatic though minimal use of form, typical of the aesthetics of the time.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Like, I'd love to see a bit more of this integrated. Like, now that we've got, like, effective VR technology, I want to see more stuff like this. Like, be great for COVID. Just go to an art gallery in VR. Just let me do that. Love to see some more of that. I know they tried it when I was working in the CBD in Melbourne a couple of years back. There's like this brick building in the middle of Melbourne Central, and they actually had a VR demo thing you could do there to sort of see how it was back in like earlier times, like in the 90s. I thought that was a cool little idea. I never actually got to sit there and have a go at it. I watched other people do it though.
Bamboo, Korea, 20th century.
But yeah, more of that. More just bring some culture to VR. Yes, we can have Half-Life Alex, but we can also get a bit of culture into you. Because I'd love to see technology get to that point as well, like to be able to go to an art gallery and go there for that reason, like to be able to look right closely at a piece of art and see all the details involved with there. Like, yeah, seeing the actual indentations of like your woodblock prints and stuff. One day we'll get there. And I think that was pretty much it for... No, there's some more stuff here. What was this one?
Thunder God, Korea.
Ah, I stood on my sword. Ow.
This figure of the Thunder God in a martial pose depicts him as flying through the air, brandishing his sword and displaying a very fierce expression.
It doesn't look fierce to me. It looks like he's in pain.
Ideals of behavior or personal qualities that one aspires to have close associations with the martial arts.
Okay. I think that was that it for the No, it seems to be a bit more, right?
Hikoshichi, carrying a girl across a stream. Japan, about 1710. Artist unknown. This is a scene from an old Japanese legend. Omori, a retainer of the Ashikaga, carries a girl across a stream on his back, but she changes into a demon.
Ah, okay. Yeah, weird that we're going around in Oh, and you just leave on the two entrances. Alright. What other fun times have we got with the martial arts Far East? Yeah, let's just do autoplay, see what it does. Do we get any
The early history of the Far East
righto.
is shrouded in mystery. The Chinese trace their history back as far as the legendary Emperor Yao about 3000 BC. The Koreans venerate Tangun, first emperor of Choson, who came to power 500 years later.
Yeah, nice we're getting a little autoplay thing on this one.
In 660 BC. Martial arts in the Far East date back to the Chinese Zhou dynasty of 1122 BC. The Zhou dynasty's Book of Rites, the later Spring and Autumn Annals, and literature of the Warring States period mention displays of archery, fencing and wrestling performed by nobles. 2500 years ago in India, Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, taught the road to nirvana. In China, this was the period of the 100 philosophers, including Lao Tzu, Confucius, Mencius, and Sun Tzu. From 400 to 222 BC, China was divided into warring states.
Ancient world. Okay.
In 221 BC, Shi Huangti, the first historic emperor of all China, first built the Great Wall of China to keep out the barbarians. However, it was during the Han Dynasty from 202 BC to 220 AD that the first descriptions of martial arts boxing appeared in literature. The 6 chapters of hand fighting, Shou Bo, were mentioned in the Han Book of Arts. In 202 BC, the Han Dynasty made China the leading political and cultural power in Asia, expanding its influence to Southeast Asia, Manchuria, Mongolia, and the Korean Peninsula. By 65 AD, there were Buddhist communities in China, and foreign embassies appeared at the imperial court. Paper and printing enabled religious and philosophical texts to be spread throughout Asia. By 147 AD, Indian Buddhist texts began to be translated into Chinese.
Yeah, because that's right. Buddhism originated from India.
Hua Do, a Chinese surgeon, developed medical gymnastics, massage techniques, and physiotherapy based on the movements of 5
We're going to grind up all these animals and turn them into
deer,
medicine.
Bear, monkey, and bird. Buddhist monks from India now brought new ideas about health and the body's relation to the world. In 222 AD, China divided into 3 kingdoms. In Japan, the great shrine to the sun goddess was built at Ise around 260 AD. In 313 AD, Korea regained independence, but it was split into 3 kingdoms, Koguryo, Paikche, and Shilla. In the 4th century, Buddhism
I don't really know much about Korean
from
history.
There it spread to Japan. Around 427 AD, tomb paintings from Koguryo in the Korean peninsula depict people in recognizable taekwondo postures.
Oh, yeah.
At about the same time, Pencak Silat was developing on the Indonesian island of Sumatra. One of its most famous styles imitates the movements of a tiger, while its legendary founder was a peasant woman who mimicked a bird in order to avoid a beating by her husband.
Yeah.
In the 6th
Yeah, I did see that in the text. Apparently, Silat originates. It was created by a woman.
His legendary journey
Same
to
with
the Shaolin
Wing Chun as
monastery of
well.
China, bringing with him a new form of Buddhism and exercises which were to be the precursor to Shaolin temple boxing.
Oh, yeah.
Years after the Bodhidharma's stay in Shaolin, Cui Yuanshang took the Indian monks' 18 hands of the Lo Han exercises and converted it into 170 hand and foot positions.
Shaolin Kung Fu comes from India.
In 589, China began to reunite under the Sui dynasty. In 594, Buddhism became the official state religion. The Grand Canal was built to link the Yellow and Yangtze rivers. Around 600, the predecessor to Taekwondo, Taekyon, was developed by Confucianist Korean noblemen who were loyal to the Shilla dynasty. Under the Tang dynasty from 618 to 907, China once again became the dominant cultural force in Asia. Poets such as Li Bo and Du Fu are examples of a well-developed literature. In the 7th century, Pencak Silat made its way to the Srivijaya Empire of Java, and from there to the Malay Peninsula.
Okay. Across into Malaysia
Japan
for a bit as well.
and Korea
Okay.
also flourished. The Taika reform of 645 brought Chinese philosophy and culture to Japan. The Korean peninsula was unified under Shilla in 668.
Yeah, that's right, because
In Japan in 752, the great Buddha
Shinto was the big religion in
the
Japan
Togaiji
before
temple in
Buddhism
Nara.
started creeping in. Okay.
By 750 AD, there were at least half a dozen distinct martial arts in China, and very few young men did not participate in one way or another. It was at this time that the martial arts began to spread to Japan.
Cool.
In Japan, the Heian period saw the publication of The Tale of Genji, the world's first novel.
Yeah.
During the Heian period, secretive groups of ninja assassins and mercenaries coalesced in the mountains surrounding Kyoto. Contacts with China diminished. In 858, as Japan emerged as a hereditary civilian dictatorship under the Fujiwara family.
Yeah, right.
In 960, Tai Tzu, the founder of the Chinese Song dynasty, developed the principles of Chang Chuan, the predecessor of modern Kung Fu. Modern Kung Fu combined forms of Chinese boxing, founded at the Shaolin Temple, together with the Chinese Emperor Tai Tzu's principles of Chan Chuan. In Korea, the Shilla dynasty was replaced by the Koryo dynasty. In 1191, Tea and Zen Buddhism were introduced to Japan. The next year, Japan saw the rise of the military government or shogunate. During the Kamakura period, 1185 to 1333, Japanese warriors developed the soft combat techniques of Jiu Jitsu. In the 13th century, China and Korea succumbed to the Mongols, led by Genghis Khan. Japan fended off their attacks. Marco Polo visited the great Mongol ruler Kublai Khan in his imperial court in China.
Oh, cool.
The origins of Tai Chi are attributed to the legendary Zhang Sanfang, a Taoist monk active in the late 13th century. Although it is possible to trace its origins back to earlier times, the familiar sword techniques of Kenjutsu, the predecessor of Kendo, were developed by the samurai from the 13th century onwards. One derivative of Kenjutsu and Yaijutsu was Yaido, the art of drawing the sword from its sheath. The Mongols were succeeded by warring states until the Ming dynasty reunited China in 1368. That same year, the shogun of Japan re-established relations with China. In the early 16th century, the Chinese occupied Okinawa and introduced Shaolin boxing and Kempo. They also prohibited the locals from carrying weapons, a ban that was reinforced by the Japanese after their conquest of the island 1 century later. Seeking to defend themselves from
Okay,
bandits,
so
the
yeah, I
Okinawans
suppose if you
developed
got a
various
warring
open-handed
states,
fighting
yeah,
techniques,
you would have had.
collectively known as Okinawa Te.
Yeah, it would have
Concurrently,
taken a while to take over
Bushido, the
Okinawa,
way
being
of the
an
warrior,
island
was
and all.
first expounded by Yamago Soko in Japan. By 1570, Filipino Muslims had incorporated Chinese martial arts techniques into their traditional use of bladed weapons. The result was Kali, a system of fighting using knives. 100 years later, Japan was torn apart by civil wars that continued until the first Europeans arrived there and in China in the 16th century. Only in 1590 did the shogun Toyotomi Hideyoshi succeed in reuniting Japan. He was succeeded by Tokugawa Ieyasu in 1603. After his death in 1616, Japan adopted a policy of extreme isolationism.
Ooh,
In
yeah.
1638, Japanese were forbidden to leave Japan, and 2 years later the last Europeans were expelled. In 1644, the last Chinese imperial dynasty, the Qing or Manchu, assumed power.
Yeah, because they were trying to crack down on Christianity as well at that
during
time.
the Tokugawa shogunate, 1603 to 1868.
I think you're only allowed in the country as a trader. I think it was Chinese, Dutch, and someone else. The only ones allowed in at that time.
And ukiyo-e art.
Oh yeah, ukiyo-e.
100 years later, Europeans began to arrive in the Far East. From 1839 to 1842, China and Britain fought the Opium War, because of which China was forced to cede Hong Kong to Britain.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about
And
that.
in 1854, in Japan, American Commodore Matthew Perry negotiated the Treaty of Kanagawa, forcing Japan to open its doors to the West.
Started the Meiji era.
Western ideas were adopted by the Japanese and Chinese. In 1868, the Emperor Meiji began his restoration, transforming the monarchy along European lines. In 1889, Meiji's constitution was adopted by the new Japanese parliament. In 1876, the samurai of Japan were forbidden to carry swords, but the art of Kenjutsu was transformed into a martial sport, Kendo. In the late 19th century, Funakoshi Gichin began to synthesize different Okinawate styles into karate. At the same time, Judo, a modified form of Jiu-Jitsu, was codified when Jigoro Kano founded the Kodokan. In 1909, the first Kendo Academy was founded in Tokyo. China was torn by war in the Boxer Rebellion of 1899 to 1900. And as for Korea, it was annexed by Japan in 1910. In 1911, the Chinese Empire fell, and Dr. Sun Yat-sen established the Chinese Republic. This was followed by a period of feuding warlords, until in 1925, General Chiang Kai-shek united China under a nationalist government. In 1931, Ueshiba Morihei developed Aikido, a contemporary form of Jiu-Jitsu, and in 1948, the first Aikido association was founded in Japan.
Shit, that early. Okay.
The commencement of the China Incident in 1937 enabled Japan to seize large chunks of Chinese territory, the first major incident in what was to become the Pacific theater of the Second World War. The bombing of Pearl Harbor in 1941 brought America into this horrible war, which ended with the nuclear attacks on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945.
Yeah, I'm surprised they actually took a photo of
In
something that
1948,
bad.
Korea was divided between the Communist North and the Western Aligned South, and in 1949, the People's Republic of China was established in Peking under Mao Zedong. East fought West in the Korean War of 1950 to 1953. Americans first encountered karate during the Korean War of 1950. In 1955, Taekwondo emerged in Korea as a synthesis of Taekyon, Karate, and Kempo. Martial arts in the West received their greatest boost in the past 3 decades. In 1964, Judo became an Olympic sport.
Yeah, there's the man.
Bruce Lee made a series of motion pictures that popularized the martial arts in the West. Today, China is the only remaining communist power. Japan, a major economic power, is closely allied with the West, while Korea remains divided.
Yeah, it was a bit different. It was cool, like, how it kind of integrated everything we sort of saw in, like, the library and all that sort of thing. And yeah, like, I'm genuinely, so I didn't think we'd spend this much time just on this one program. Like, it's chockers. And definitely a lot more than what you usually get in CD-ROM games.
Collection, beginning with the Martial Arts Explorer, was released. It was followed by the Karate Cyber Tutor and the Tai Chi Cyber
there's
Tutor,
more of these.
introducing an
Nice little plug to other
unprecedented
products.
multimedia approach to the ancient study of the martial arts.
Yeah, alright, we might have to find the other ones in this series, I guess.